I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option, as Sori says. 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft. What? Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
You gotta put that light on higher. It look like we're in a cavern here.
Maybe we are.
Killing me.
Okay.
You probably want to turn that white. Or do whatever. Okay, guys, here we go. This is the Christmas, as we promised you yesterday. This is the Christmas special. Yeah. I think all the songs are with the big homie SUFJAN Stevens is the way that, I don't know. Is it Sufjan?
I think
it would be Sufjan, like Abu Sufyan, like the dude that came after Muhammad.
It looks like Sufyan.
Might have been Sufjan Stevens. Oh come Emmanuel.
All right, this is A Melancholy Christmas, Sufjan Stevens Christmas stream. The holidays tend to be a gloomy time for me. Growing up, Christmas Eve was a huge event. My mother was one of 7 siblings, and on Christmas Eve, all the aunts, cousins, uncles, etc. would all travel back to gather at my grandma's house to visit, exchange gifts, and so on. And the whole thing was so warm and sweet. Lots of the cousins were born within a year or 2 of each other, too, so we all grew up together and we were good friends, and the big gatherings were always the highlight of each year. After both of my grandparents died at around 2004, Alzheimer's in both cases. Oh. The family sort of dispersed, and we haven't really had a gathering like that since, outside of weddings and funerals. That's too bad. Nowadays, when the holidays come around, I always feel the occasional twinge of longing for those long and magical evenings. As a Buddhist, I still recognize these as a suffering caused by attachment and a resistance to impermanence. Longing after those times and the fact that they are gone really only creates discontentment in the long run. But those feelings still come back every year, and it's so hard to let go. As they say, you can't ever go home again. The indie folk artist and one of my favorites, Sufjan Stevens, has released 10 different EPs of Christmas music recorded between 2001 and 2012. Altogether, he's put together 102 different Christmas songs, some traditional, some original, some instrumentals, and so forth. With an upbringing as difficult as he's alluded to in some of the past songs you've heard, Christmas was a difficult enough time that as an adult he dedicated so much time and effort to try and reconnect with the holiday spirit. This stream features 6 such selections. 2 traditional, 2 original, for us all to enjoy and settle into the high and lows of the heaviest time of the year. Wow. Thanks a bunch to Middle Earth for helping out to fund part of the stream, he said. Wow, okay. Well, let's get into it. This first song is O Come, Emmanuel, and he said this one is based on a 12th century Latin hymn. I'm actually not sure how this song relates to Christmas itself, but perhaps you two can enlighten me. He said. Either way, Sufjan's mellow interpretation recorded in 2001 is lovely. All right.
All right, so here we go. First song in the Christmas Bonanza, Sufjan Stevens, O Come, Emmanuel. Let's do it. Do you hear anything?
No. Oh, wait. No.
Do you hear anything?
I thought maybe it was just starting, but no.
Okay, talk to the people.
Well, we will get this Christmas story night started very soon.
Some of the issue is that we've got copyright claims. So the videos that we saw, the videos that got sent to us were all official videos, and
right.
You guys know what happens. We get shut down when that happens. So we were trying to find a workaround.
Yeah, it was official audio. So, if you didn't realize, you think, oh, well, official, that should be fine because it's audio and not the visuals, but they'll even catch that. I don't even understand how they can catch that, but they do.
Yeah.
So, you're trying to find some lyric videos right now?
Yeah, we had one. Don't worry about it, Negative Vibes. It's all good. We had it. It's just here you go. Let's try this again. Okay,
anyway,
so
the weather has gotten really
copy.
cold around here. There's now ice on the roads. That's exciting.
Yep, Dorian's doing his getting his driver's hours in.
He's gonna be like official next week or this weekend, maybe even.
He's get official permit.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Right, and then
official
then
permit.
he's gonna go to.
So
I don't know when he's gonna go take the test. But,
I think he has to wait 6 months or something. But
good times,
yep,
good times.
He's gonna be driving around the town. That's crazy, right?
Lock your windows, close your doors.
Yep. Do you have it, or we?
Well, we're gonna try it again.
1.
Yeah, we're good. We got it. Okay.
3, 4.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Song number 1 in the Sufjan Stevens Christmas
O come,
Bonanza.
Emmanuel.
O come, Emmanuel. Let's go.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh come, Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel that mourns in lonely exile here until the Son of God appears. Rejoice, rejoice, rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice, rejoice. Oh, come thou day spring, come and cheer our spirits by thy advent here. Disperse the gloomy clouds of night, and death's dark shadows put to flight. Rejoice, rejoice, rejoice. Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel. In ancient times didst give the law. In cloud and majesty and awe. Rejoice, rejoice, rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice, rejoice. Rejoice, rejoice,
Wow,
That
is a
was
beautiful
song
version.
numero uno.
Yeah, wow. O come, Emmanuel. is the name of
Different
that
song.
one.
Yeah, this is actually one of my favorite Christmas songs of all time. This song.
This is a
It's
really
one of my
good one.
favorite Christmas songs of all time.
It's a really good one.
Emmanuel means God is with us. So when it says "O come, Emmanuel," it's God is with us. There's a Old Testament passage around 600 years before Christ, and Christians interpret this, what I'm about to read, obviously as a prophecy of Jesus. Therefore, the Lord Himself will give you a sign. Behold, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. So El is God, right? At the end, El is God, and then Emmanuel means that God is with us. And at the time, the Israelites were in exile in Babylon. So God's like, listen, if you worship false gods and you mistreat the orphan, the widow, and the sojourner, if you're not good to basically single mothers in distress, if you don't care for immigrants, if you mistreat people and you create an economic system that's exploitative, this is all located in the book of Isaiah. God said, if you treat people like that, I'm not going to protect you when these other nations come to exile you. So by the time the book of Isaiah is written, all of those crimes had been committed in mass by the people. They mistreated the widow. They mistreated the orphan. They didn't care for the poor. They extorted people. They were charging insane levels of interest that people couldn't pay, thereby creating an entire slave class. And so at that point, God said, okay, I'm lifting the protections. And the Babylonians brought them into exile. So while they were in exile, it looked pretty hopeless. It looked pretty terrible. And then you had these prophets like Isaiah and Ezekiel, etc., that were prophesying one day God is going to restore us. One day God's going to bring us back from exile. But the real issue was we got to find somebody who can make it so we never go back into exile ever again. Mm-hmm. Because Israel had these cycles where, they'd be fine and then they'd screw up. They'd be fine, then they'd screw up. And then that was all during the period of the judges. So at the time, actually, it's pretty interesting. Israel was an anarchist state to a degree. Before the institution of the kings, there was no federalized system.
True. Yeah.
When the bad guys would show up, they'd find somebody and they'd go do jihad. That was pretty much all of the book of Judges. And then you get into the next set of books, and that's when it introduces you to the kingly line. But the people that were demanding a king were actually presented as bad people. Wanting a king and wanting a sort of federalized government was actually portrayed as something that was bad. Mm-hmm. But anyway, long story short, the kings, basically the nation went as the king went. So if the king was righteous, the nation was righteous for a little bit. But if the king was weak sauce, they all went that direction. They'd all go in and so there was this horrible cycle. So when you're talking about like the Messiah, the chosen one or whatever, it's not just that he's going to be the king. It's that he's going to be a king who lasts forever and he's always righteous so that the people never end up back into exile. And you can always be in right relationship with God. Yeah. So while they're in Babylon, while they're in exile, there's this hope of this coming king who would establish righteousness forever. And then the name of that person is Emmanuel, God with us, which would be extremely important to the people reading that passage, because remember, the locus of the presence of God in that economy was located at a specific address. It was like 123 Main Street. That's the temple,
Right.
and that's where God's presence was. Well, the Babylonians came, wrecked their temple, destroyed their temple, and then moved them to a completely different area. And so you want to know that is God still with you, because on a practical level, we can't worship God anymore in this temple where his presence was located, and now we're in this separate land. And God responds by saying, no, actually, I'm going to send somebody, and this person being in your midst is the equivalent of God being with you. And then, of course, that's where Christians get the idea that Jesus is actually God, because he is, right? That's our theology. But the second thing is that Jesus himself is the temple, because the temple is the meeting place between God and men. So that's the background for the Come, O come, Emmanuel. It's sort of this cry of the desire for not just the Jewish people, but all of us go through these little cycles of exiles ourselves. Like you talked about it, like where you had this one like golden age moment in your family, everything was great, and then what we call life, you know, or the Bible would call the curse, kind of takes over. It infiltrates into these beautiful moments, and you lose things, and it's like he was saying, like you can never go back home.
Right.
And it's fascinating because when you read about the Israelites going back to Babylon and trying to rebuild the temple, all the OGs that were there before, when they saw the new temple, cried because it was nothing close to what it was like before. Like that cycle, when they went back home, it just wasn't the same.
Yeah.
And so I see a lot. And so, like on a macro level, like that's specifically what the text is talking about. But on a micro level, all of us are constantly going through these cycles of, we have a little golden age and then it gets ruined, and you try to get back there, and it's never the same. It's one of the reasons why, like, if an epic of time is done in my life, like I'm done with it, because I know if I try to resurrect that and go backwards, it's just not going to be, not going to be the way that it was before.
Yeah.
So, that's a cry that almost everybody has, pretty much, is. Theoretically, as a Christian, I'm going to say that those beautiful moments that we have with our families and Christmas and things like that before Alzheimer's infiltrates and all that, I'm going to say from a Christian worldview, God was in the midst of that. God was in the midst of that love and all the rest of it. But then that kind of oasis gets taken from us because of life. And then it's like, okay, how do we like get that feeling back? How do we get back to that area? And you know, the biblical answer, and I understand the Buddhist answer, is to say, look, you know, you got desires, and the desires are causing you suffering and all that. And that's one way to look at it. And I think there's a lot of utility in there. For me, I think the Christian answer is reorder your desires to where you desire God above all things, or you recognize that God is in the midst of that happiness, and happiness is a signposter to something. It's not the things. In other words, if I'm driving to Florida and we're trying to get to Disney World, you know, we're on the map thing and we're looking at the signs, and the sign says Disney World next right. Well, if you pull over and just camp out by the sign, you're not gonna be as happy. The sign is pointing you to something. So when we meet with family and all the rest of it, it's pointing to a greater source of happiness, actually. But if we miss the greater source of happiness, then when the curse inevitably infiltrates, we're going to be kind of lost. So, and that's why the song has this constant refrain of rejoicing, because if we could figure out how to interface with this being that brought us this happiness in these circumstances, if we could figure out that he's always with us and that we could access him, then there is a sense in which underneath all the pain and this is not the same, underneath that you could say, well, you're the same though.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? And so that's kind of been the theme of my life with a lot of things. Obviously, you guys know I've had a lot of losses with stuff, and you know, some days are better than others, and some days are worse than others. But it's a cool thing to be able to think that, even theoretically, to believe, yeah, but God is with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, God is with me. Billy says, don't put your faith in any other source than yourself, my guy. I mean, I understand that.
Yeah.
But
I disagree.
That's for like mega strong people, and I'm not a mega strong person. I'm a very, very weak person. I need a crutch. I got a lot of broken things inside of me, so I need a crutch. And some of y'all are like massively strong people, and you have faith in yourself and all that, and you know, more power to you. I'm just not that guy. I'm just not a strong individual. I'm very fragile, actually. So I need Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
I've also let myself down a quadrillion times. So that's the other thing.
Right.
Vincent is not a credible helper of Vincent. Just say it that way. Let's just keep it kosher. What were your thoughts?
Oh yeah. And you kind of talked about how they would get themselves in that cycle and then they would be away. And so then the second line in the song, after O come, Emmanuel, it says, and ransom captive Israel. Mm-hmm. So they have it right in there, what you were just talking about. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
But this song is, it has like a real deeply religious experience to it. Like if you know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like yeah. I think it's really fascinating, Negative, that you were saying like that you're not really sure what this even has to do with Christmas, because I can't see how it could relate to anything other. But it's just fascinating to see how, you know, everybody's experiences and the things that you have learned, you know, influence how you're going to look at something. And so
yeah, the Christmas aspect is obviously that Jesus was born.
Jesus is Emmanuel.
This is a day that we're commemorating, supposedly, where Jesus was born. Actually, Michael Heiser says, and I believe him actually, that Jesus was actually born on September 11th, but that's a different discussion. But
really?
Yeah, but yeah, it's a Christmas song because we're saying that Jesus is the fulfillment of that promise, not only for Israel, but for the whole world. That you see. Ransom captive Israel, bring us back, that mourns in lowly exile here until the Son of God appears.
So it's like a prayer, and then the next one seems, you know what I mean? Like it seems like there's, and then it almost seems like the answer is rejoice, 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 because
right.
It is going to happen. Like that prayer is going to be answered, and they are not going to stay captives. God is going to rescue them, and he's going to rescue them through Emmanuel. So there's that rejoice. So it's almost like saying what the problem is, but then starting the rejoicing right away, because you have so much belief that God is going to come through and do what he says he's going to do. Mm-hmm. And so there's like the rejoice, rejoice, rejoice. But then it's also, I think it's like a rejoice as in look forward because it's going to happen. And then it's also a rejoice when it has happened. And it's a rejoice for us now because we look back because it did happen. Like that Jesus, Emmanuel, did come.
Yeah, verse 2. O come thou dayspring, come and cheer our spirits by thine advent here. Disperse the gloomy clouds of night and death's dark shadows put to flight. That's one of the things I think is fascinating as far as the difference between, one of the major fundamental differences I see between Christianity and Buddhism is that it's completely rational. Your suffering, a lot of it is located in your desire. So the more you can divest yourself of attachment to things or attachment to desire or whatever, the less suffering you'll experience. And I think that that's true logically. Christianity's answer to that is to say suffering is here not because of your attachment, because of your sin. So you should be attached to your family. You should be attached to your significant other. Yeah. You should be attached to your favorite food. Those are all things, but those things are signposts. They're not Disney World. They're not the destination. So from a biblical view, the suffering doesn't come from attachment. The suffering comes from parking out at the attachment instead of ultimately using those things to point you back to the ultimate. And so you're encouraged to feel everything as a Christian. And it's not this sort of nihilistic suffering is inevitable, but it's more so suffering in this world is temporary and is working for you an eternal weight of glory, which will not be able to be compared with the suffering that you're enduring in this little time. Right. So it's very fascinating. But, you know, obviously my attachment to Jesus is a massively emotional one that's chock full of desires and things like that. And you kind of see all this stuff happen on 10. You know, when Jesus shows up, he's massively passionate, but he also gets terrifyingly angry to the point where there's like armed guards and he's flipping over the temple and nobody wants any smoke with him. Yeah. So it's interesting, but and then the constant refrain to rejoice is to feel all the emotions. Like, we've got gloomy clouds of night, like disperse them. Like, you know, so I just think it's great. I love this third verse. I've actually never
it wasn't
seen this third verse before, but it's unbelievable. Thou Lord of Mights, which is interesting because Mighty Ones is sort of the term for, it's usually translated as Elohim. So the term Elohim or God is applied to more beings than just God is God. It's applied to angels. It's applied to powerful spirits that have jurisdiction over the earth. So what it's saying here is thou Lord of mights. It's a way of saying that Jesus is the God of gods, which is very fascinating. Who to thy tribes at Sinai's height in ancient times did give the law and cloud and majesty and awe. Say again?
Weren't people also called Elohim sometimes?
Yeah, people were called Elohim. Moses is called Elohim to Pharaoh. Yeah. Samuel is called Elohim by the witch of Endor.
Yeah. Right. Did you already say that and I missed that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But if you look at the last verse, who to thy tribes on Sinai's height in ancient times did give the law and cloud and majesty and awe. Yeah. What they're saying is that Jesus is the God that was there on Mount Sinai, which again is pretty insane claim to duty. I love this song. I love it very much. It's my favorite Christmas song. He did it very, very well. It's a 9.5 for me.
Oh, good. A 9.5. This was a 10 for me. I I love the song itself, and then what he did with it, I thought he did very well. And and I'm excited because Vinny gave it a 9.5, and we usually disagree on which Christmas songs to listen to. So maybe this one will get added to our own. We'll start our own Christmas list with songs we both enjoy. Maybe this one can be on it.
Yeah, yeah. Why do you keep saying you need Christ? That's only Greek meaning anointed one. Moses is the Christ, Jeremiah is the Christ, so I just say Yeshua. Yeah, but the issue is that Jesus is Ha-Mashiach, meaning the anointed one. There are a lot of little kings, but Jesus is the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. There are a lot of beings called sons of God. I'm called the Son of God. Satan is called the Son of God, but Jesus is the Son of God. So there's something singular about Jesus that's not true for any other being. So that's how to answer that question. Okay. All right, guys, we are coming back with more Christmas extravaganza.
We shall be here.
We shall see you on the other side of the break, dear listener. Then out.
Sori out.
Go. Commercial break. I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 here and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. We are in the Christmas spectacular.
Yes. Negative Vibes is
big
putting on
homie.
our Christmas stream tonight.
One of the more positive members of the village. Negative Vibes, for sure, for sure. Shout out to the homie. We are, as advertised, doing a Cat Stevens, a Sufjan Stevens Christmas extravaganza. We just did O Come, O Come, Emmanuel, and now we are doing Coventry Carol.
Yep.
I have never heard of Coventry Carol, so this should be interesting. This is a brand new to me. Have you heard of this?
No.
Okay, I've never heard of it.
He said this is a fairly straightforward take on the original 16th century English carol, except that it features a musical solo played on a saw.
A saw!
A saw. I think I like the minor key carols the most, he says.
That's a very metal Christmas, subhanAllah.
Yeah.
Playing on a saw.
Yeah.
Talk
I don't
to
think
him.
I've ever heard this song. Actually, I'm looking at the lyrics.
Yeah, well, maybe it's because it's English, and we're Americans, so we're still in rebellion against the crown, unfortunately. All right, let's go. Sufjan Stevens, Coventry Carol. Let's do this ish. Get these lyrics here.
I like those visuals. Can you put the visuals back?
Okay.
If you can.
The visuals instead of the lyrics. I just want to. Is this the right version? My brother.
Negative.
I'm hearing this. Okay, this is the right one. Okay, I'm gonna start over. I just wanted to make sure. Okay, we'll start over. Ready, go. I've never heard this carol before.
I have
somebody
never
said it
heard
was
this.
somebody said it was their favorite one.
You're kidding me. Wow.
Yeah, maybe
It's sad.
This is what happens when you're
Jeez.
when you're not plugged into the classics. Yeah, it's that's one of the interesting things to me about Christmas. It's like presented as this
Jolly
like happy, happy kind of moment in the calendar. And I
much reflection that goes on.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember as a kid, we've talked about this, like having like little tinges of sadness in Christmas.
Oh yeah.
Like when it was over.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm still like that. I literally don't want the tree to come down and the lights to come off it.
Yeah.
I like seeing it when I go down there. You know what I think too? Like a song like this, hearing this on Christmas when you're sitting in front of the tree and enjoying the lights, or in front of the fire, or with family around, like I feel like that the sadness kind of gets like evened out a little bit if you have some of those positives there. But wow, that's a you know what it reminded me of? Remember that song about Hush Jael?
Hush Jael, yeah.
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 Kind of reminded me of that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never heard it before.
Yeah, it's a real grungy. I mean, if you really look at what's going on, like it's a really grimy holiday, man. You got this teenage girl that's pregnant. You got this, they're making this very treacherous trek, and people are out to kill your kid, and like, just for the uninitiated,
Yeah.
Jesus, we believe, is God, becomes one of us, but he doesn't incarnate in a palace, which is what a lot of people were expecting to do. He shows up, they choose the poorest of the poor, and so like there's just a lot of real. There was this one
And his means of entry too, because God could just plop a baby down
Right.
on the ground, but like to have it be birthed and everything.
Well,
like,
yeah, the early Gnostics said that Jesus basically phased out of the Blessed
yeah,
Mother's,
because they didn't want to. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think,
yeah, man. Like it's a really actually a very grimy scene actually, and if you've ever been to a childbirth, God, like it's just, it's weird. Like there doesn't seem to be that kind of like weight in the Christmas celebration. There was this one movie, and it just focused completely on Mary and Joseph and the trek that they took. I forgot the name of the movie. It came out like 10 years ago, but it just focused on Mary and Joseph and the trek, and it really just showed you like, yo, man, like that was a real. And then when you look at Mary, like Mary was a gangster, man. Like that to do that, 9 months pregnant. Basically be in a pig trough, have your kid out there, like that's just like really grimy street metal type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
yeah, absolutely.
It's weird though that and I don't know if it's because of the, I've only experienced Christmas in America. We didn't really have a big Christmas thing in Jamaica.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
We had like a dinner or something like that, but we never really had like a Christmas thing with the presents in the tree. Like we didn't do that in Jamaica. It wasn't like a religious thing either. It wasn't like we're purposely not doing. It was just not the custom at the time. So when I first came to America, we had no expectation of Christmas present and any of that shit. We had no idea. I didn't know what that was. We just woke up one day and there was all this shit under the tree. Like we were like, what is going on?
Yeah, that must have been a crazy experience.
Oh my God, it was the worst. When we had Nintendo, Atari, Power Wheels. Like
I remember you listing off all those toys, but I never like factored in like you didn't know. It's not like kids that are like wake up to their parents because they want to open the gifts.
Yeah,
you saw the tree. You thought, did you like the tree?
Yeah, it was the Nativity. The Nativity Story was the name of that movie.
Yes.
But yeah, like I don't, and I always have a problem. Like I was talking to Dorian about this. Like I'm not a very big ceremony guy, so. sometimes, like a lot of times, like I'm trying to understand the significance that people pour into stuff like graduation. You know, like that's why like certain like career things where it's like that they don't make a big deal about, like, you know, you pass a, there's no big deal. It's like, okay, you're in, here's your next thing or whatever, or you do something great. There's no big, it's like, okay, we just like, I've always tried to figure out like why is this so meaningful to people? You know what I'm saying? But then I'm like, well, I mean, it's Christmas, dude. Like, I mean, you're a Christian. I mean, you know, like our fathers established these holidays. I'm like, yeah, but part of it is stuff like this. Like, we generally don't sing songs like this, like where we're talking about Jesus being a poor baby and Herod and his folks killing all these little kids. And you know, and then it says that woe is me, poor child, for thee. Like, that's like real, like grimy, like, yeah, man, that's how it was. Like, there was a lot of hope in this kid. There was a lot of excitement about what he was gonna do, but there was also a lot of real difficulty and real danger and real like human evil. And principally speaking, anytime you introduce a principle of good in the context of an evil principle, people are going to die, because evil always wants to maintain power and control and tyranny over other people, and in order to maintain that, you always end up killing people. It's just, especially when you get to the political level. And so it's fascinating because in the previous song we talked about how initially Israel was essentially an anarchist state, and asking for a king or a federalized government was perceived as being bad. Then you fast forward to Jesus, and what do you have? You have the king, which was really set up by the Romans, to be honest with you. But because you had a federalized king system, you have this king, and now he's actually fighting against the guy that's supposed to save you. Like, so there's a lot of things like political theory. There's a lot of shit that goes into this story that doesn't get talked about. You know, it's just, oh, he was born in a manger, isn't that cute? And here's a donkey, and oh, the donkey bowed down, like the Catholic lady would tell. Oh, the donkey was bowing to Jesus in the thingamajiggy. Like, it was a really cute picture. Like, and I loved it. And age appropriate, whatever. But I'm like, I don't know. Maybe the holiday would have been a lot more meaningful to me if we like talked about the grime and the grit and the bravery of Mary. And
I agree.
And the fact that, like, and even Mary in her Magnificat, where she accepts that she's going to be the mother of the Messiah, she's like, yes, this is a time when God is going to destroy our enemies and exalt the humble, and crush the people in high places. Like, she was extremely political. Like, she was massively political. It wasn't like, oh, Merry Christmas to me. Like, she was like, this is going to have some serious political ramifications here. So, and so did Herod. Herod thought so too. And now you've got Christmas is completely divorced from what's happening. You got a Christmas that's completely devoid of understanding that there's tyranny in the world, and Jesus came to end tyrannical rule, and we have a job to do as far as ending like, none of that shit comes to mind on Christmas. I'm not trying to be a Scrooge. I'm just saying, like, when you go back and look at old school songs like this, you get the feeling like, okay, here's some weight and gravity to this story. It's not just about a cute baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, shoot, I forgot I was gonna just...
Yeah, he got some seriously nice Christmas presents, I guess. Well, plus I think it would have been really healthy. He got you for Christmas. I think he's eternally grateful for that, for sure. Go ahead, what you were saying?
I don't know, that interaction. I was starting to talk about that one. I don't know, I can't remember what I was gonna say.
Okay, what do you give the song?
I am going to give this I think, that's what I was going to say. It would also be really good, I think, for girls to be able to hear on Christmas, like, you know, here's the story of this girl. She was 15. You know what I mean? Like, to hear, like, what she did.
She was
not
tough.
in, like, to hear, like, that. I think that would be really cool for them. I guess I would give this one boy. because I've never heard it, that's what it's going to give it more points, because it's like this was a miss. We should have been hearing this. I'm going to give it a 9.8.
I'm going to give this one a solid 9.4. I've never heard the song before, like I said, so I didn't know what to expect, but I really appreciate how grimy this song was.
I agree.
And it was real. And I appreciated that. Okay, more Christmas bonanza coming your way. I think the next one's going to be called The Worst Christmas Ever.
Oh, no.
We shall return, dear listener. I'm Ben.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord,
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
and they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Ben and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch. Buy our merch indeed, and a child shall lead them to buy our merch. Vinny has escaped this room, supposedly on a long journey. Hopefully he'll return soon. The next song on our list is That Was the Worst Christmas Ever. Let's see, what was my worst Christmas? I don't think I've actually had any really bad Christmases. I really, really like Christmas time. But I do think that when you were giving your explanation, Negative, about how your Christmases were, it reminded me a lot of how I would describe mine growing up too. With all the cousins coming to one location and being like super close in age, and then, you know, everybody kind of like growing up together but still having I remember that's exactly how it was. The ribbon candies at the holidays, and I don't know. I think those times were special, and it is sad even still. Like sometimes I look back to them like, man, I wish that we could go back to grandma's for one more Christmas, or, you know, go over to, you know, it just, but
Hey, Davy J. Glad to see you doing good, buddy. Davy J in his house. Remember
man,
Davy
hey.
J? He got us a star, y'all. Remember? He got us a star. He like literally bought us a star.
Oh, he's the one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was actually just looking at that paperwork like 2 days ago.
Yeah. Shout out to the homie. You can't beat that one. All right, guys, here we go. Sufjan Stevens.
Okay, wait a minute.
Go ahead.
This one is an original song recorded in 2003 based on a story from Sufjan's childhood. Oh, wow, okay.
Okay. Let me know. Just type 22, Neg, if the lyrics are, if the song is the right copy, because remember we didn't have the
we didn't use the official
official. So once you hear it, type 22 if it's the right copy. If it's not, we'll keep looking. Here we go. Sufjan Stevens, Worst Christmas Ever. Let's go.
sister runs away, taking her books to the schoolyard, schoolyard. In time the snow will rise, in time the snow will rise. In time the Lord will rise, in time the Lord will rise.
I
Damn.
hope nothing happened to his sister.
Huh?
I hope nothing happened to his sister.
Well, I mean, the dad yelled and threw their gifts into the wood
I know,
stove.
but then it says that she ran away to the schoolyard with her books, and it says, in time the snow will rise, in time the snow will rise, and then in time the Lord will rise. Like, she didn't stay in the schoolyard and freeze, did she?
No.
He just is talking. You think he's saying
No.
the snow's going to rise as in time's going to pass?
Yeah, it's just, yeah. But, damn. Yeah, it's funny. We, spent one Christmas in a homeless shelter, but it wasn't like a localized homeless shelter. You would stay one place for a week, another place for a week, another place for a week.
Amazing.
We ended up in a synagogue. We ended up in a synagogue for, I feel like the synagogue, we stayed there for 2 weeks. But anyway, we did Christmas in the synagogue. And presents, whole 9 yards, everything. Like, I actually, like, made out like a bandit, materialism-wise. That Christmas. You got remote control cars, like good ones, like all types of shit.
Well, and you weren't all about, like, you already said traditions and stuff like that don't matter to you. So did it matter to you whether you were in an apartment or you
Not
were
at all. It's
the
funny.
shelter?
It's funny because my younger brother will not even, he used to call it the S. Remember when we were in the S? Like literally, like as a man, he was still using that term. Like, I think both my brothers had a problem with spending Christmas in the homeless shelter. I didn't care. My mom had a hard time with being a mom and your kids are in a homeless shelter for Christmas. Like, she had a hard time there, but like, I don't know, man. Yeah. Sometimes in the real world, like, the shit is not, you know, it's not perfect. And then you got somebody that, I mean, that dad, what the hell? You're throwing the Christmas
oh my God,
gifts into the wood stove? Like, that's, you gotta, like, at some level, like, you have to be like, yo, dude.
you gotta pull yourself together.
But see, this is the other problem that I have with holidays, right? Is because this guy, I'm just gonna say he's a dick, but he's been a dick forever.
Yeah.
He's always been a dick. So
I see what you're
Christmas,
saying, yeah.
Christmas is not gonna change his dickery. Mm-hmm. The problem is that now
You've poured so much meaning into
exactly this. Now there's more meaning poured into this aspect of his dickery, whereas he's always been like this.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But now, because it's during the Christmas time, it's like, Dad, couldn't you give us a break on Christmas? Now it's even worse because now it's in the context of this holiday type of thing or whatever,
mm-hmm.
right? So it's.
Yep.
But I.
Boy, that ending, the way that they were singing.
I don't think that ceremonies are bad. I'm still trying to figure it out. See what I'm saying? And I you know, like, we were in a church that did communion every week. Mm-hmm. But I understood the point of that ritual. Like, it made sense to me that we're doing this ritual. I understood it. You know, it's like if you do that once a week, you know, communion reminds you of the broken body and shed blood of Christ, and you've been sinning all week. Like, it makes sense to me to like have that as in your rhythm to resettle yourself, and it's a very solemn but celebratory moment. And we had, and I had never done communion the way that this church had done it. I mean, there were just
I had never had either.
There were just a lot of moments where it was like,
it was cool.
It was crazy.
Really
but
cool.
but I do good with ritual and tradition when I understand the import behind it, and you know, if I get it, you know what I'm saying. I'm not saying like the holidays are bad. It's just, this is one of the issues that I have, is that these poor people, you know, now they got to deal with this horrible memory that has now become, you know, emblazoned in their souls because
and you
it
won't
happened
be able to think
during
of Christmas without thinking about that.
Yeah, and Negative was saying, like, this gives a little insight onto why he's recorded so many Christmas songs. He's trying to just reconnect with how bad it was for him growing up and trying to get some sort of, you know, but
he wants to rekindle that Christmas spirit, he said.
Yeah, because it's easy for a kid to have Christmas spirit, and you know, like, to be a dad like this, man, I don't know, bro. You gotta do something really horrible as a kid to justify that at Christmas. And I don't get the feeling that this dude and his sister were doing horrible shit to warrant that kind of, you know, that's just a guy who's unhappy with himself.
Yeah, because I feel like that any kid that would do something that bad to get toys wouldn't care about toys. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like,
well, it didn't even say toys; it said gifts. Which could be clothes, could be...
that's true, yeah.
There's so much shit. Like, it's just such a terrible thing to do as a father. I can't imagine doing it as a father. I remember one time, you remember we paid a pretty penny, I'm not even going to talk about it, to see Tom Brady play the Patriots.
Yeah.
And I had bought 2 tickets for the boys to surprise them, but they were really disrespecting their mom, and I told them, I said, look, we got something major planned for you guys. You know, you're on 2 strikes. Like, don't fuck with me again. And like,
they were pushing the line, and
they pushed the line on multiple. She didn't tell me they were on like strike 5 when she finally told me. So I brought the kids in the room, and I said, okay, I was gonna bring you to the game, but I cannot bring you to the game because you're disrespecting your mom, and you know, I can't justify giving you this insane, crazy, once in a lifetime moment when you've been dishonoring your mom the whole time. So you guys can't go, dude. I cry. I don't know. I was crying for like an hour. It was bad. Yeah. The boy. I don't even think the boys cried.
No, they were bummed out. Well, they were basically like, when they talk about it now, it seems like they were basically like, they knew that they had pushed it way too far. But yeah, geez, you had a real hard time. I was like, oh my word.
Yeah.
Because I knew that I don't think that I have the strength as a parent to be able to make a decision like that. That's extremely difficult, and it was like a once in a lifetime opportunity. Basically, it just too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was.
So if that would have fell around Christmas, I still would have done it.
Yeah.
But I think kids know when you're just doing something because you're lashing out versus you're doing something because, you know, it's really, really important. And you know, the boys knew that about me, and I had sat them down and we talked for hours about it. I'm like, listen, I'm not going to let you guys disrespect your mom. Like, it's very, very important to me. Like, we talk about a lot about, you know, what kind of men they're going to be when they get married and how to treat their wives and things like that. And I've had a lot of, you know, our family history cyclically has not done well with taking care of women. You know, the wives. You know, I saw it happen to my mom. I saw it happen to my extended family. And you always say, like, oh, that's never going to happen with me. But unless you're proactively working to break that cycle, you're going to repeat it. Mm-hmm. And so I've made it a priority for the boys. And so, you know, but so I think if when my boys look back at that memory, I don't think they're gonna be like, oh, Dad, you know, did X, Y, and Z, because they know it's rooted in love. But this dude, This dude right here, our father yells, throwing the gifts in the wood stove. Just terrible. And just so ironic as a father to do that, considering what Christmas is about.
Yeah.
God so loved the world.
Yeah.
Specifically speaking in Christian theology, God the Father so loved the world that he gave the
his
best
son.
gift possible, his
Yeah.
son, to sinners. It's like,
And he knew what was going to happen.
like, couldn't you make an exception for your kids on Christmas? Like, there's a lot of times when we do that where we're like, nah, let's make it. You know what I'm saying? Like, unless it's something that there's about 2 or 3 issues that are, you know, like, we're not going to abuse women. We're not going to verbally disrespect women here. We fight for women here. Like, literally, we will fight for women here.
Right.
We will kill for women here. We don't disrespect or dishonor women, especially women that we belong to. So, but aside from that, as a parent, you make those negotiations all the time. You bend the yes, you do. You bend the rules when it's holiday.
Yep.
You bend the rule. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't go to the letter of the law on your kid. But this guy, I mean, damn. You know, that's one of the reasons, honestly. Like I honor the Christmas tradition stuff. Sori and Dorian are like crazy about tradition and all, and I'm horrible at it. So like every year for the last couple of years, we've gone down and gotten an actual real tree, cut it down, all types of shit. I'm not into that. Like, let's go to Walmart and buy a plastic tree, and then we won't have to keep shopping for trees every year. But it's become a little family tradition, things of that nature, and I definitely like see the value in that. Like a lot of times as a parent, you got to like take yourself out of the equation. This guy couldn't do it. It's like, God Almighty.
He says that, but every year that we've gone to get the tree, on the drive there, you look like a grumpy bear. And then when we're doing it, you get involved with the kids. And then by the end of it, it feels like to me you're running the whole thing. You guys are going, everybody's excited.
Yeah,
everybody's gonna go turn on the Christmas music. So you always seem to actually enjoy it once you're there and we're bringing the tree home and everything.
I agree with that. And you know, and everybody knows it. So it's like, okay, Dad's gonna be quiet on the drive up, but on the drive down it's gonna be fun. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, I this is a very unique Christmas song because it's sad, but I mean it's also real. Maybe not everybody's specific situation, but you know, I'm sure my brothers can relate to that when they think about the Christmas we spent in the synagogue. I'm the only one that you know, I look back at that and I don't, you know, I thought my mom did a great job. You know, my mom was dealing with bipolar, a couple other things. We were in a brand new state. She had just left my stepdad again. There was a lot of, you know, difficulties. So, like, I understand, like what do you know, it's like, what do you expect, like, from one person? Like,
yeah.
And she kept us together.
But you thought that as a kid.
Yeah, I thought
Johan's like that.
Yeah, I thought as a kid. I was like, you know, it's like, come on, man, like, you know, we've been through situations before. We had been in homeless shelters before. It's just, why am I gonna like freak out on my mom because we're in it during Christmas? If there is anything she could have done for us not to be there, she would have. Yeah. But I mean, bipolar, that shit is real, and so I felt like, based on, you know, I think my older brother felt a little bit guilty because he was essentially the man of the house. There was just a lot of things going on, but to me, I thought my mom. Shout out to my mom. You did a bang up job, BMW. Shit was difficult. This is a 9.2 for me. I am blown away by how honest and real, but still beautiful the song was.
Yeah. Yep, especially that ending part. It had that sort of chilly sound to it, but it was really... Yeah, this is a 9.1 for me.
We have more coming on the way for you, beautiful people, on the other side.
I have to add one more story.
When we were kids,
when we were kids, we had blankets, and my parents were trying to get us used to not having the blankets when we went to bed. And so they came up with this idea that they would tell us that if we got rid of the blankets ourselves, they would buy us like a Barbie. It was definitely a Barbie. I was like, yo, that's a good
bribery.
Trade. Yeah, I was like, that's a good trade. I really wanted that Barbie. And my sister was like, yeah, okay, let's do it. Well, they thought it would be better if it was like we knew that the blanket was completely gone, not that it was like maybe packed away somewhere. They wanted it like completely out of our heads, so they threw it in the wood stove in front of us.
Oh my god!
And my
but
sister,
you guys had voluntarily given it away,
but,
right?
Like, yeah, we had, but then when you do it and you're actually seeing like your blanket, like your thing of comfort, going up in flames, it has a different feel to it. So
they did that shit on Christmas?
No, they didn't do that on Christmas. I'm just saying, like, that was a situation that we volunteered for, we participated in, and we were still, well, I wasn't horrified. I was happy with the Barbie. My sister was horrified. She'll still talk about it to this day. So this guy, I mean,
the terror!
Is really
the horror!
Angry. He's really angry. He's really trying to ruin your day. Like, that would be a really bad memory, man. So anyway, 9.1. You gave your score. Don't burn your kids' blankets.
Yeah.
You meant well. I know.
Yeah. You can see we're different. I'm talking about being in a homeless shelter at Christmas. She's traumatized still by her blankie being burned after she got bribed with a Barbie.
Let's just end this review.
That's a lot of bees. Her blanket being burned after she got banned from a Barbie. Or bribed with a Barbie. Okay, by the way, shout out to Rose. Shout out to Michelle. Shout out to Morgan. We will see you real soon, big homie. Vin out.
Sori out.
Go. We shall return. Turn. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
Rubbish. That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft. Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener.
Negative Vibes stream, A Melancholy Christmas.
A melancholy Christmas extravaganza
is in the works. Carol of St. Benjamin is up next, the bearded one.
Yes, sir. Is there a little...
Yep. So Negative says, this is another original song recorded in 2006. I'm not certain what to make of the lyrics. And it's another one of those where no one online seems to know either. Oh, good. We're glad you're on the job, babe. It'll be neat to see how you interpret them. Okay.
All right. Well, let me get my lyrics first. Oh, are the lyrics up there already?
Yeah, they're already up right up there on Trello.
See what you did there. Yeah. Carol of St. Benjamin. Okay. Carol of St. Benjamin.
That was Negative Vibes. He sent me the email all perfectly.
Thank you so much. Not to put any pressure on anybody, but it does so much for us when you already have the lyrics there.
Yep.
But no issue with any other DJs.
We're not complaining.
All right, guys, here we go. Sufjan Stevens, Carol of St. Benjamin, the bearded one.
Okay.
Let's find out.
I can see you there. Oh, in the snowbank with the snowman at your side. And in my heart and in my spirit, I can see it. The things you want in life, you have to really need. This is a matter of life. Only parents cry. Oh, when they want to show the world they're still alive. And in my heart and in my spirit, I believe. The draft beneath the doorframe comes to challenge me. This is a matter of life. Oh, be kind to me. Oh, Benjamin who keeps his hands inside his sleeves. And in my heart and in my spirit, I can read the way he brushed his beard against the cedar tree, keeping his eyes upon me. I can see you there. Oh, in the snowbank with the snowman at your side. And in my heart and in my spirit, I can see the things you want in life, you have to really need.
Okay.
That was extremely beautiful.
Yeah, every time he went
ridiculously
high-
beautiful harmonies.
Yeah.
There's something very sweet about this dude's voice.
Yeah, I agree.
And there's something almost like childlike about this dude. It's really weird. Like, I mean, obviously he's a grown ass man. I don't know when he wrote this song, but there's something about this kid, this guy that's childlike the way
Yeah.
that he is.
And
I don't.
that's a positive thing in our worldview.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, again, kind of interesting. Brings up his parents again. And this was part of a Christmas record, but it seems that he had a not so good relationship with his dad. But I mean, we saw that in the previous song. But it's just interesting. Okay, so what hit you about that song?
Lyrically, I didn't really have an understanding of what was going on, but vocally, those notes that he hit and with the women's voices in the background, that was so beautiful. It was almost entrancing. I really, really enjoyed that. And the way when his voice would take the high note and they were in the background, those were my definite favorite spots. And there's a sort of oddness to the way that he sings, like the way that he kind of like, I don't know, what he does with his voice. And I like stuff that's a little bit seems off, and this song kind of captured that. And it made me think, I'm like, man, negative vibes. We're ever around you and you have a Christmas party, better invite us. You got some good music. It looks a little sad on some of them, but
Yeah. So that song we did was Kashmir Pulaski Day,
okay.
and it looked to be about like reconciling his religion with his sexuality, because I think he's talking about, I don't know if it's talking about, I remember at Michael's house in the living room when you kissed my neck and I almost touched your blouse. So remember there was like some back and forth that happened, and then like his mom, there was something about religion and his mom and all the rest of it, or his dad or whoever it was. That was a girl. Okay, that one was about the girl who died of cancer while he was growing up. Okay,
Jeez.
I see. Okay, all right. So Carol of Saint Benjamin, I see you there. Oh, in the snowbank, with a snowman at your side. In my heart, in my spirit, I concede that the things you want in life, you have to really need. This is a matter of life. What did you think that was? That to me seemed to be the crux of the song. That lyric right there.
I don't know, because all I picture was, somebody that just made a snowman sitting beside the snowman and someone's looking out at them. But when he said, in my heart and in my spirit, I concede, I thought it was like, if you don't need things and you get a bunch of things that you don't need, like it changes you to be a certain type of person. If you have genuine needs and those needs get met, it can make you a grateful person. But sometimes if you're in the other situation, it doesn't really work. So I thought it was like maybe that he's saying it's a matter of life. The way that you can live the best is if you're not, I don't really know. What did you get from it?
It looks like when he says the things you want in life you have to really need. You know how sometimes people are like, yeah, you want it, but you don't want it bad enough?
Yeah.
So like if you want something, it's like optional. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you need something, it's not optional.
No. Yeah.
And if a person needs something, they're more likely to get it because they're operating with a more desperate sort of, you know, it's like coming out of the sauna. Like, you're gonna get water. You know what I'm saying? Like, or if you can't get to water, you're gonna get something. I don't need, like, I'm not gonna die like in that moment.
Right.
Like, I know for a fact I'm not gonna die in that moment. You know what I'm saying? But you get to the point where you want something so bad that the difference between need and want becomes blurred.
Yeah.
So I think that
I think that's true.
That is a point of the song, and then it says this is a matter of life. So it's like, okay, if you have that as your philosophy, then you're going to get the things that you want, but you can't keep wanting a whole bunch of stuff because you cannot apply that intensity to everything in life.
Yeah.
So then the next line, only parents cry when they want to show the world that they're still alive.
Yeah.
So that is fascinating.
Is he saying that basically like all the adults, the parents, they've all deadened themselves, they're all dead inside, and so they'll like let something get in?
Yeah, that display of emotion
is just so they can trick people into thinking that they're still
not
alive.
Trick people, show people that they're still kicking in there. Whereas kids cry, but the cry is genuine. There's no like ulterior motive. There's no like goal. It's just when a kid cries, it's because it's funny because if you stack the two verses on top of each other, a little kid cries especially when they don't get what they want, because little kids can't tell the difference between a want and a need. Right. So little kids, when they cry, a lot of the times is they're crying because they didn't get something that they want. But when parents when parents are crying, they're crying because they want to show the world that they still have, you know, that the world hasn't completely deadened them, that they still have a soul kicking around in there. And so then you think to yourself, yeah, but like, is that the genuine crying though? Like we're watching the show right now, and the guy like went to the gravestone of his family member, and like you always have to question like, why is he really doing this? Because he's a lovable guy, but he's so disingenuous that you don't really know why he's doing what he's doing. So I am assuming that he had, you know, if you look at his dad was a pretty mean guy. Obviously, he threw all the Christmas presents in the wood stove. Yeah, I've never heard it. I still can't believe that he did that. So yeah, it seems to me that the difference between being a child and being an adult, and it looks like he wants to remain on the child side, obviously.
When he said the draft beneath the door frame comes to challenge me, this is a matter of life. Well, what do you think he's talking about there? Why? It seems so random.
Well, I think that's still going with the whole want versus need thing, because the draft beneath the door it's an inconvenience. It's not something that's going to kill you. It's not something that's going to... It's just inconvenient to have a draft by the door. We grew up with that shit, like, all in the hood. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's drafts all the time, and we open the oven. You open the oven and try to heat up the house.
Oh,
like,
open the oven?
It's not a life or death situation if there's a draft. It's a challenge.
Yeah,
but it's not life or death. But again, as a kid, those issues become so much... Everything is bigger when you're a kid. I still see some continuity there, because the next thing is this to me seems to be about life's wisdom. So the first one is about the things you want in life you have to really need, meaning you have to want it bad enough. And then the second one is the draft beneath the doorframe comes to challenge me, basically saying, look at these hard situations as challenges. Like, grow up, dude. It's a draft underneath the door. You're not going to die. It's inconvenient. It's uncomfortable, but take it as a challenge and go for it. So that's how I looked at that.
Yeah, that's true, because you could go for it into one could be you get mentally stronger than it and you realize that it's not really that significant, you're going to be fine. Or you take the challenge of saying, okay, I'm going to apply my wisdom to see if I can fix this issue. But either way, you're doing something to change that situation.
Yeah. Be kind to me, oh Benjamin, who keeps his eyes inside his hands inside his sleeves. I like that rhyme scheme. Kind to me, inside his sleeves. That and the way that he sang it definitely rhymed. Be kind to me, oh Benjamin, who keeps his hands inside his sleeve. And in my heart and in my spirit I can read the way he brushed his beard against the cedar tree, keeping his eyes upon me. Go ahead.
That just sounded creepy, because then like I just couldn't figure out what the song was about, because then I'm picturing like this old man who's like straightening his brushing his beard with the bark of a cedar tree and looking at this person, which just sounded creepy.
Yeah, keeping his eyes upon me. Yeah. But he's saying be kind. So I don't know if that's his dad. Maybe his dad's name was Benjamin, or maybe the dad's middle name is Benjamin. Benjamin means like son of sorrow or something like that. Because what's her face? Rachel died in childbirth.
Yep.
And she named, I think the midwife named him like son of my suffering, and then they changed it to Benjamin. But they changed it to Benjamin, which because she initially called him son of my sorrow, and the midwife was like, wait a minute, because she knew she was dying. Yeah. So the midnight last second changed the name. I believe his dad was named Rashid Stevens, but it could be a reference to him still. Yeah. I think Rashid. I think maybe it's his father. The way he brushed his beard against the cedar tree, keeping his eyes upon me. Yeah. And his dad's out there in the snowbank with a snowman at his side. It's like, that's a childlike thing. It's like, hey dad, we're having this moment where like I could be a kid and you can be an adult like a traditional family would. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then he starts dealing with how he deals with difficulties in his life. The things you want in life you have to really need. Maybe he's saying he really needs his dad to like show up and be a dad.
That's what I was wondering, if that's what that one was. Yeah.
Because he's saying be kind to me.
And he pictured him in that snowman spot.
Yeah. And
when
he's
he
saying
said keeps his hands inside his sleeves, is he talking about himself?
He's talking about Benjamin, who keeps his hands inside his sleeves.
And you think Benjamin's the dad?
I think Benjamin is probably a code for his father.
Okay.
Because, again, he's saying be kind, and based on the context, especially in the previous song, his father, it looked like his father just flew off at the handle at times and did crazy shit. And so it looks like here, it doesn't look like there was a lot of time for him to be just a kid around his dad. So the whole snowbank thing, at least, I don't know if he built it. He's got his hands in his sleeves, so maybe he's trying to warm his hands up because he actually built the snowman. And he's saying, hey, this is great. This is a moment where you could be a dad to me, And he's saying, you brush your beard against the cedar tree, keeping his eyes on me, because he didn't want to take his hands out of his jacket. So he brushed the beard off on the cedar tree. Now, that could also be a metaphor for, because how people say so-and-so wears their hearts on their sleeves, but he keeps it inside. He's keeping his, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So he's so reserved that he won't, again, pull his hands out to wipe out his beard. He wipes it against the trees, because it just shows how committed he is to keeping his hands inside of his pockets. And I don't know if that means, look, kid, this is a once in a lifetime thing where I'm going to build a snowman for you, so I'm keeping my hands in here. This is never going to happen again. You know what I'm saying? Or if it's a deeper metaphor of, look, you're only going to get this much access or closeness to me. Everything, I'm going to be compact otherwise. And it doesn't matter what's going on outside. I'm not going to let you in. My hands are going to be in, it's kind of a defensive position. So, yeah, that's what it looks like to me. It looks like his relationship with his dad and the wisdom that basically he had to learn on his own because his dad wasn't giving him that kind of guidance. But that he wanted so desperately that affection from his dad that it was indistinguishable from a need. And that's the other thing that a lot of fathers don't understand. Like, that connection is not a want from your kid. Like, the kid's got like all these appointments with me. We're driving, we talk, and things like that. Like, those are not wants.
Yeah.
Those are needs. But what happens with a lot of dads, especially like old school dads, it's like, when I was growing up, I didn't get all this and blah blah blah. As long as I'm providing, like I was looking at this blog from this. She's a very famous, in my opinion, toxic evangelical woman who's. It seems like her sole purpose is to get women to submit to their husbands, but whatever. But she says, anytime a woman comes to me and says that they're having problems, I ask them, has he cheated on you? And is he providing? And she says, if the woman says yes to both those questions, I tell her to go home and basically look within yourself and see what's wrong with you, because that's basically all the man needs to do. And I just so when you have that mentality,
you're saying if he didn't cheat,
cheat on you, and if he's bringing home the bacon, you got nothing to complain about. So there's a lot of dudes with that kind of mentality, right? So it's like, oh, hey, I'm supposed to provide for you and protect you as a father. So that's the necessities. You wanting to talk to me about your day, you want to talk about baseball, you want girl advice. That's a want. That's not a need.
Yeah, I do. A lot of people.
And I don't think that that's true.
No, I agree. I think it's really healthy for kids to be able to have those conversations.
They need that guidance from their dad.
And I can see like they do need you. Like, even like with the little ones, I can see it when they're like, I can see when they need dad time.
Yeah, it's yeah. And in our modern age, it's this. There's not a lot of hope for kids, because in the modern age now, we're so progressive that we could just like mix and match parents. The dad doesn't matter if dad's there. It doesn't matter, because as long as two people love each other, blah blah blah, we don't need a dad or we don't need a mom. That's just ridiculous. And you wait. We're not gonna be around to see it, but there's gonna be a whole generation of really fucked up people, because we were so smart. We outsmarted. Look, you could say outsmarted God, outsmarted evolution. You could say, look, God made it so that there's no way that a child could come into the world without a mom and a dad. Or you could say natural selection made it so that our species has to reproduce in this way. However you want to slice it, dads are important. Yeah, but a lot of times, like, society abdicates dad from the emotional side of caretaking. And I think building the snowman, I think the metaphor of the hands being inside.
Maybe that means he went so long
being guarded. Yeah, but
because if you go too long playing with the snow, then your hands get really cold, and then you would have to pull them in. So like, maybe that's the only time his father went all out for him, because he built him that snowman and he couldn't take his hands out because they were so freaking cold. Yeah,
that's possible. The only thing is that the ask is not very big. The ask is just be kind to me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you like went all out like that, then I would assume there'd be like another kind of celebration. I just think that this guy is a very deeply metaphorical thinker. So even though there's probably a very practical reason the hands were in the jacket, I also think it's a metaphor of like his closed offness to his kid. That's how I interpret it. Yeah. Hell of a and that dad. If it's about the dad, that's a hell of a Christmas memory. Like back to back. So on the one hand, we have a Christmas memory of him dumping the presents into the fire, and then the next thing we have a memory of, hey, he built a snowman, he's outside. You know what I'm saying? But he's still closed off, and the most you can ask for is just be kind. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of sad. Like, even when the dad goes and actually, the dad does love his kid, I think. But it's one of those things where he's got his own issues. And the dad's not aware of his own issues, so he can't be emotionally available to his son as much as I think he should be. Or Benjamin is just a friend down the street that he built snowmen with, and I'm completely wrong. So there's that. I really like this song. This is a 9.3 for me.
Oh, 9.2 for me.
SUFJAN Stevens, dear listener. We are coming right back with more goodness.
Lonely Man of Winter up
Lonely Man of Winter. Vin and Sori, SUFJAN Stevens, Negative Vibes. We in here. Vin out.
Sori out.
Go. Woo. Nick, do me a favor and type up a little paragraph thingamajiggy as to how you interpreted that song. That was a very, very... I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
They do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener.
All right. We have SUFJAN Stevens, Lonely Man of Winter is up next. Negative Vibe says, this is a neat one. In 2007, SUFJAN held a Christmas song exchange contest where he invited fans to send him an original Christmas song, and in exchange he would write an original and share it only with the one fan and promise not to release it right away. The winner was a man named Alec Duffy, who would then invite local fans over for listening parties with hot cocoa and marshmallows. In 2018, SUFJAN released a single featuring the original song, the one Alec Duffy wrote, and an updated remix of a song which is the one I've chosen. Ooh! Okay, cool.
Okay, so this is Alec Duffy and SUFJAN Stevens.
Wow.
Lonely Man of Winter. Let's do it.
In the world that you would make up with unicorns and buffalo bears, time we spent in silence. The silence of a wintry head. Is it the lonely man of winter? I could put my finger on that. And even if it's Christmas, could we just pretend for a bit that everything we went through was something so much better than this?
Wow.
I really like that one.
Wow, that one was good. That was really good.
Yeah.
What did you think it was about?
Well, kind of seemed like a relationship song.
I think all these songs are relationship songs today. Okay, go for it.
So she says, in the world that you make up with unicorns and buffalo backs, I know that you would wake up with the sunny side touching your back. It seems like she's saying like that he's not very, like the way that he looks at things, the way he thinks of things, it's all unicorns and buffalo back. Like I got that as he's not looking at things in a real way, in the way of reality. And when she says sunny side touching your back, that she means that everything always works out for him. What did you get from that?
Well, she says, I know that you would wake up. In the world that you'd make up,
Yeah.
with unicorns and buffalo backs, I know that you'd wake up with the sunny side touching your back.
Right, because it's the world he creates, so it's all going to work out for him.
In the world that he would make up.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's talking about a... It seems to me this is an old family member that's basically been abandoned by the family. Because he's the... You know the phrase old man winter? You've heard the phrase old man winter. Like,
yeah.
That's kind of the personification of the season. Like they personify the season of winter as an old man winter's coming, blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. And that's not a good sign. Mm-hmm. Like people usually don't talk about old man winter in like a positive way. It's like, oh my God, here's old man winter. Mm-hmm. So he replaces it with the lonely man of Christmas.
Okay. So
it just seemed, it made me think of we had that downtown ministry and stuff, and we threw a Christmas party one time. But you'd interface with like Tex was one of them.
Yeah, what about?
Where I just remember it'd be Christmas and like I think to myself, because I had organized this Christmas thing, and one of the guys one of the street dudes took me aside and said, "Yo," he said, "look at this," and I'm like looking at these people, and we're feeding them, and we're able to get them presents and stuff because. Mm-hmm. One of the girls created a gift list and stuff, so we were able to get them real practical, shit. But there's one guy, Tex, and Tex always smiled, like no matter what, like he always smiled, even when he was talking about like because he had family in Texas and stuff, and he's like, yep, they're over there, and like he's not with his family on Christmas, and mm-hmm. It was tough, people be like, damn, like, this guy's got a family, and I'd say, yeah, guys, be careful, because mm-hmm. we don't know mm-hmm. this dude's backstory. All we know is what he's telling us. And our job is not to judge his family or try to figure that out. Our job is to just love. But at the same time, it was like, whatever the reasons were, and I'm sure they were valid, you know, because he had an alcohol problem. At minimum, he had an alcohol problem. And, but it was crazy being like, yo, if we didn't throw that thing for them, like he'd have nothing. There'd be no celebration.
Yeah.
There'd no,
Yeah.
and I really liked the way that we did it, you know, because the leader was like making a big push to say, we're not going to do these people as charity cases. Like, we really want to like honor these people.
Yeah.
We need to spend some money. We need to make it like,
Yeah, it's not going to be like cafeteria food. Make the food that you would make at your family reunion.
yeah, and make it aesthetically pleasing, like
Yep.
Christmas and things like that. And so it
was such a nice time. That was some of the best Christmases or holidays, I thought.
yeah,
Being a part of all that with everybody.
it was, but like that's again like one of the tough things I try to reconcile with the holidays is like you have all these people where their loneliness gets triply compounded because now it's the holiday. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's kind of like a weird, like you know, why are you always looking at the negative side of shit? But like, but the song instigates it to a degree.
Yeah, but I think it's necessary because there's just so many people that feel that way. So many people have experienced loss on different levels, and the holidays that's the most depressing time of the year for lots of people. And so I think it's good that, you know, he addressed it in this song.
Well, it says he's riding in the devil's abyss. You see that right there at the end of verse 2?
You have writhing?
Riding, R-I-D-I-N-G.
Yeah, me too. Okay.
So, that tells me that he's caught up in something.
Yeah.
Long live Chile! That tells me he's caught up in something that's destructive. And that's why it says, like, is it the time we spent in silence, the silence of a wintry head? Is it the lonely man of winter? I could put my finger on that. And even if it's Christmas, could we just pretend for a bit that everything we went through was something better than this? So, he's been kind of loyal to this person, looking out for them. And it says his wintry head, which I'm assuming means that he's an older guy. You know, he's got the gray hair and all that. But like, it just looks like it's a sad thing, and whatever this guy has been involved in has separated him from his family, and like this guy's the only one left. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and that's a tough thing to contend with. And so even if it's Christmas, can we pretend for a bit that everything we went through was so much better than this? You know, like you'll have people like that in families. Like, you know, my older brother was the caretaker for, you know, certain members of my family. And there's a certain kind of pain that a caretaker has for a person like this that nobody can really understand.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because because that person will say everybody abandoned me, blah, blah, blah. But the caretaker knows you've pushed everybody past their limits. You know what I'm saying? So they're kind of stuck. And it's like, he's talking about the long drive. You know, is it the lonely man of Christmas? He's hoping for a break in the plan. The loneliness of holding your hand. You know, like, because that's the line. There's nobody left to hold this person's hand because it looks like they've alienated themselves so much from everybody else that now they're just alone. And again, I don't know, but it just seems like that's what it was, man. And we saw that a lot with folks, not just older guys, but we saw people downtown that had, like, you know, the drugs had so dominated their life that, you know, they did certain things that. And the other thing too, it's like, it's not one thing. It's like the same thing over and over again. It's the same lie over and over and over again. And it gets to the point where the family is like, yo, I'm not going to fall for this again. For my own mental health, I'm out of here. And they ghost him, cut him off, whatever you want to call it. But then there's that one caretaker is like, well, you know, I'm going to see this person through the end. And, you know, God bless those people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That'd be a tough job.
I'm not one of those people. You know what I'm saying? My older brother's one of those people. My little brother's, to a degree, is one of those people. I'm not one of those people. You know what I'm saying? So, but I respect it. That's why when people are like, oh my God, Texas family, they're so horrible. I'm like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know. Like,
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, that's what it looked like to me, man, is that these are kind of like melancholy songs. Like, what the hell? This is Christmas. But I'm like, at the same time, I'm like, this is real life. And so, like, if your Christmas, whatever you want to call it, can't stand up to like real life, you know what I'm saying? Like, if and that's part of it. It's like, maybe like we want Christmas to be like an escape from the real world. Maybe people want that season, those 5 days or 10 days or 12 days of Christmas, whatever it is. Maybe people like, yo, maybe we can carve out some space where everything is good and perfect.
Yeah.
Right? And then it makes sense at the end of the line, like, even if it's Christmas, can we just pretend for a bit? Like, because now they have to pretend even if it's Christmas. So, like, Christmas is not accomplishing that goal. You know what I'm saying? So, it's you can't ignore that.
No.
Like, there's lonely people at Christmas.
That bothers me so much.
Like, you gotta interface with that. And you know, we were, you know, it was a cool thing to be able to do that, though, with those folks.
I loved it.
You know what I'm saying? I knew it was temporary. Everybody knew it was temporary. But, like, those people had been, like, walked all over. They'd been completely disregarded and disrespected. And so for that guy to be like, yo, we need to make sure that these people are being honored this day and things like that, no matter what they did. You know, we had a little message for him or whatever. Like, that to me is important. I understand, like, you have your kids, you want to take care of your kids and your family and all that and be family oriented. I certainly am. But at the same time, it's like, what are we doing?
There's enough time for both.
Yeah. But I specifically, though, as a Christian, like, there is a certain level of separation that God had with Christ to give him to us.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And then we take that day and say, this day is about us. Fuck all those other people who are homeless and all the rest. And, like, again, it's like, it's me trying to figure out, like, how to reconcile, you know, the holidays and the ideal of the holiday with the reality of living in this world and your own your responsibility to your family and your responsibility to your community. And you know, I just think there's probably so much being left on the table with Christmas as to, like, really, like, making the holiday a really robust, you know, and you know, there's 12 days of Christmas, so you could say, like, okay, we'll save Christmas Eve for our family, or we'll save Christmas Day for our family, but there's 12 other days where you can, I don't know, celebrate Christmas with people you don't know or people in the street or whatever. But
I like that.
But yeah, I mean, and some of this is like, I'm actually nervous this Christmas because we lost somebody that we were working with on Thanksgiving. You know, one of those folks that we gave the Christmas, you know, gifts and the meals to, you know, jumped out of a window on Thanksgiving. So I'm a little bit nervous about, and I can't help but say to myself, if we were still down there, he'd still be alive today. Like, so it just makes me be like, damn. But on the one hand, it's like, yo, we really help people. Like, when I saw that, because we used to do that for Thanksgiving too. We had Thanksgiving, we had Christmas. When I saw that, on the one hand, I'm like, damn, if we were there, he wouldn't have done that. But on the other hand, I say to myself, yeah, but we were there. And so people probably hadn't done that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's kind of like the backdrop. Like, I'm nervous to, like,
what's going to happen over Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, with our folks, you know, but, yeah.
Hopefully not. Hopefully.
You know, yeah, but again, like, understanding that there are difficulties in Christmas and things like that, to me, doesn't take away from the, you know, the point. I love this dude and what he's doing with I think this is just unbelievable.
It's beautiful.
I've never seen anything like this before.
Absolutely,
like the entire thing is, and like these sadnesses are the things that Jesus came for. You know what I'm saying? So like
100%.
we can't look away from sad situations on Christmas, like, because God looked sadness in the face and sent Jesus here on Christmas. That's what it's about. All of us were in bad shape. You know what I'm saying? So, which goes back to the original refrain of "Come, Emmanuel." Well, there's a reason people are saying "Come," because it sucks down here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like really feeling what this dude is doing with Christmas. Like he's putting like a real spin on it, and I don't know. Obviously, I don't know what this guy's spiritual where he's at, but for me, like, there's ultimate hope. Like, I believe we're gonna figure it out. I think Christmas is gonna be, inshallah, different 40 years from now. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the church in the West will figure it out, and we can add a lot more depth to the season.
There is so much depth.
Because materialism is one level of superficiality, but from a Christian worldview, like this whole thing where it's like, oh, it's my family, we're good, fuck everybody else. Like that's a form of superficiality. I think that Jesus is challenging us to. And it's not like, oh, what about other people and sacrifice the joy of your family for the sake of other people? Or is it find your joy in celebrating with your family, and then that celebration overflows and hits other people so that they can share in your joy? Now you're not doing charity for anybody. Now you're talking about different levels of happiness on Christmas. So are you happy to get the present? Sure. Are you happy to be with your family? Sure. You're also missing out on a whole bunch of happiness by leaving those people alone. And maybe in 40 years people will be dissatisfied with the first two and want the first two and the third one. You know what I'm saying? Which would be crazy. Yeah. So yeah, I just think I love like what this guy is doing with this song. And Negative Vibes is saying the fact that he has a full musical career, but on top of his regular albums, he's taken time to make 102 Christian songs. That's incredible. No. Okay, so SUFJAN is a Christian. Okay. Enigma says the problem with this tradition, it's selfish. What makes December 25th important? What cause was he born for? Isn't the message he gave more important? Right, and to embody the message, right? Like, I was talking to Dorian one time where I was out in Texas, and I said, he's like, I want this and this and this for Christmas. I said, you just had a birthday in October. He's like, yeah. And I said, you bought presents for everybody on your birthday? He goes, no, they got me the presents. And I said, okay, so Christmas is Jesus' birthday. How the hell did you make out with presents?
What did he say?
Well, he had nothing to say. You know what I'm saying?
Well, sometimes they come up with something quick. So.
If it was Orion would have just stopped for a second and said, yeah, I want the presents though. You know how Orion is. Yeah. He doesn't care. I like this song, 9.1. 9.1.
9.2 for me.
Would you say 9.2?
Yeah, I give it a 9.2.
We have one more song. It's a Christmas song, guys, and it's called
Justice Delivers Its Death.
Justice Delivers Its Death. Happy Christmas,
Merry
guys.
Christmas.
Been out.
Sorry out.
Gone. Justice Delivers Its. I'm Ben.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft. Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener.
Justice delivers its death in our Christmas stream tonight from Negative Vibes.
Dwayne says, I thought all the songs tonight were Christmas songs. Did I miss the stream title? No! Justice Delivers Its Death is a Christmas song, dear listener.
Yeah, it starts out with Silver and Gold. This song, recorded in 2010, is an absolutely scathing critique to the Johnny Marks carol Silver and Gold. Featured in the 1964 claymation film Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Oh.
What's it? The Johnny what?
Johnny Marks carol. Johnny Marks, that's his name, Johnny Marks. Carol, Silver and Gold. Oh, I know exactly. This is the one the snowman would sing on Rudolph.
What? Well, how would it go?
Silver and gold.
Silver and gold, silver and gold. Everyone wishes for silver and gold. How do you measure its worth? Just by the pleasure it gives here on earth.
Well, that's how they sung it on the other one. At least that's how I see it.
So, it means so much when I see silver and gold decorations on every Christmas tree. All right, so this is going to be like a scathing critique of that song.
Did you ever see
listener.
that? The Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? Claymation? The fact that it's taking you so long. Do you remember the ornaments that I was sad that they got broken? That's from that. Do you recognize them?
No. Sorry.
What a travesty.
Sorry. We continue. Here we go. What's the name of the song again? Justice Delivers Its Death. Sufjan Stevens. Let's do it.
Silver and gold. Silver and gold. Everyone wishes for it. How do you measure its worth? Just by the pleasure it gives here on earth. Oh, I'm getting old. Oh, I'm getting old. Everyone wishes for youth. How have I wasted my life, trusting the pleasure it gives here on earth? Lord, come with fire. Lord, come with fire. Everyone's wasting their time, storing up treasure in vain, trusting the pleasure it gives here on earth. Oh, I see the end. Oh, I see the end. Everyone's waiting for death. How do you measure its worth? Justice delivers its gift here on earth. Silver and gold, silver and gold, silver and gold, silver and gold, silver
I never knew what that song was about because that snowman would start singing it. We usually would try to skip it because it seemed a little boring.
Well, this is not a cover, it's a critique.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
He's critiquing it.
Yeah, because I was going to say, it seemed like it was more the opposite message when we used to hear it, but...
Yeah, the original song was celebrating silver and gold, and I want to see silver and gold on every Christmas tree, but this is saying...
Yeah.
This is saying, I mean, this is the screed against materialism, right?
Yeah.
Everyone wishes for it. How do you measure its worth? Just by the pleasure it gives here on earth. Yeah, I mean...
What?
The materialism thing was a thing for me. Like, I honestly, I didn't start giving out presents on Christmas really until you. Like, that was just a battle. I was like, you know what? You know, we're a blended family. There's a lot of chaos happening right now. It's not a fight that I want to have, but I'm not really a fan of the material, the gift giving on Christmas at all. I mean, I talked about it in the previous, you know, the previous song where I said, you know, how are you getting presents on Jesus's birthday? And for me, it's like, well, isn't like the gift, isn't Jesus the gift? Isn't that enough? Like, what? We need more things. And then I'm like, yeah, like, and I get it. Read the Christmas story before. I don't know. I'm just to me, it's like, I don't know. Well, I do know. I have an opinion. It's just there's certain things I'm going to fight about. There's certain things I'm not going to fight about.
I think that when you see the negative side of, you know, like because there is like, you know, sometimes you'll see the kids get like, well, that's it, or you know what I mean, like different stuff like that. I'm talking kids in general, not just ours, but even myself as a child and friends of mine or whatever. So I think that there's an excitement in it, and it can be distracting from the actual reason that we're doing it. At the same time, like, the kids enjoy getting gifts, but they also have a lot of fun buying gifts for each other and giving and being able to, and having that opportunity for giving and feeling like God the Father.
Yeah.
You just totally disagree. You just think it's all negative in your mind, or it's just not.
Well, one, what do our kids want that they don't have? That's number one. Like, as far as things that we get them for Christmas presents, I mean, another iPad, another iPhone, another, like, our kids have, like, they're, you know, just for me, it's like, the best Christmases I've had, the best Christmas I remember was the one we had in the homeless shelter. There was also one in Florida, and then the ones that we had downtown where we were doing that. Those were the best Christmases to me, when we were like giving to people, and these were homeless people downtown. So we, you know, they were getting toiletry. We did get beers, and we were able to get the kids like some really cool stuff. We should have partnered.
Like we should have beers.
We should have partnered. Bears, yeah. We should have partnered with what do you call that? Toys for Tots or whatever.
Yeah, we should have.
But even then, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
to me, it's like, you know, he's saying like everybody's wasting their time storing up treasure in vain, trusting in the pleasure it gives here on earth. And it's like, here's my thing. This is what I know to be true. I believe our kids would be disappointed if they didn't get any presents whatsoever. I do not think they would be disappointed. I don't think they would look back 6 months from now and be disappointed if we never mentioned Christ. That's my problem. So it's like, we can read that I don't even like reading the Christmas story before opening the. I think it's almost blasphemous to me. Like, hey Jesus, we're celebrating your day. We're really not. Let me just read this to like give you a nod. Then we're gonna get into what we're really about. Like, that to me is just, you know.
But would you switch off, like obviously it's heavy on Christmas traditions in the traditional sense of America is what I know. But if you were gonna, let's say we said, all right, you know what, let's stop doing presents. Let's see if there's like another, you know, to teach them those other things. Is there other traditions that could really emphasize, like, so it's not like, okay, now Christmas is just a regular day. Like, it is a very special day. We're going to celebrate in different, like,
Well, it's not a special day to me. It's not a special day to me.
Okay, well, I'm not even throwing the whole thing out.
No, I'm not saying we're going to throw the day. I'm just saying, like, the way that we're doing Christmas, like, is not special to me. Like, what we did for those people. And again, a lot of this is probably due to my experience. Like, I experienced, and in my view, an amazing Christmas in that synagogue at the homeless shelter because, you know, people that didn't know us took time out of their day. They even brought, you know, they even brought one of those kids over to play with me because, you know, my little brother was too little and my older brother was out with his, you know, whatever. And so some of the Jewish families brought the kid to, like, run around, and they cleared all the chairs in the synagogue. It's Christmas. It's not their holiday. But, you know, the Torah says to love your neighbor, do all this good shit. So we were in trouble. It was Christmas. And all the other that's the other thing. All the other homeless families had places to go to because they were local. We were coming from Florida. We had nobody. So they saw us there by ourselves. And so not only did we get the gifts, but they made sure to bring a boy over that was kind of my age.
That's cute.
And they had him run around with me in their place, in their synagogue for 2 hours.
That's
so, like, that left an indelible mark on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, the fact that people would do that there's people in the world that would do that for you. So when we were down in downtown, I'm like, yo, I saw a bunch of little kids and, you know, I pulled H aside because she, you know, she had organized that, and I said, this is gonna stay with these kids, bro. Trust me. Like, she did, and I hadn't even told her that story, but I'm like, this is gonna stay with these kids. So for me, like, you know, I am happy to see everybody happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna be a downer about it, but, like, to me, at the end of the day, it's ultimately about materialism in America. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the long and the short of it. Even in Christian families, like I said, if we went through this Christmas and I never mentioned Jesus, but they got all their presents, it would be a successful Christmas present. You know, so we have to deal with the implications of what that means as Christian parents, because whatever, you know, that's getting passed on to them and all the rest of it. So, you know, but I'm like, you know, Christmas is not in the Bible. So it's not like some biblical command. It's a thing that we made up. So I don't think that Jesus is up there upset. Like, that's probably not the day he was born anyway. So, you know, to me, it feels like a missed opportunity. You know, and I was like watching somebody else on Facebook. There was somebody else on Facebook, and they were like, yo, like, what are you even supposed to get your kids for Christmas when you get them everything they want anyway? I was like, yeah, that's pretty insightful. Because I'm looking at our kids. I'm like, what do they want? Like, what thing under the Christmas tree could we give them that they wouldn't get in a month or two anyway? Like, our kids randomly get iPads, all types of shit. And on top of that, like, they're generating revenue. Like, we're paying them pretty decently. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, but it's still, we gotta have the presents. Like, so I don't know. Like, but like I said, like, I don't think it's like the end of the world. I don't think it's like horrible in the sense of like God's gonna destroy America because we're so materialistic. But for me, I think when it really comes down to it, Christmas is really about materialism. It's about getting stuff. It's about the excitement of getting stuff. And definitely it is family get-togethers and all that too. Like, I gotta, you know, I'm gonna recognize that. I'm just saying, like, when the look back happens, you're talking about the gifts and the because, like, there's literally millions of Christian families in America where the Christmas would be ruined if there were no gifts. You could have the family, you could have the dinner, you could have the fellowship, you could have the Jesus, but if there are no gifts, that Christmas is gonna be looked upon as a failure. So that tells me it's unavoidable, as you know, Negative Vibes is saying. You can't escape the American commercial phenomenon, and you can't, because one of the things that we're the best at, you know, we're the best at war, I think that, you know, I've studied a little bit about warfare, and I would say we're the best at war, especially implementations of war. But we're also the best marketers the world has ever seen, ever. So I mean, Wall Street, I mean, literally is it's just started out as a market. There's no other nation ever that's done something like emphasize selling to the degree that Americans do. So you just have to understand, like, this is where you are, and, you know, we're all shaped by our culture. But there is, like, he says, everyone's waiting for death. And then he says, justice delivers its gift here on earth. And the name of the song is Justice Delivers Death. So the gift that justice delivers us is which is interesting, because we were talking about the underprivileged, homeless, all that other stuff. And so there is a sense in which, how can we be just people when we're spending all this money on material and we know there's people outside? And it's like, well, we're waiting for death. And so if you have a nihilist, here's the thing, like, this is going to be very provocative. If I was an atheist, the way that Americans do Christmas would make all the sense in the world to me. We're all going to die. We have a very, very short period here on this planet. Have as much fun as you possibly can. Enjoy life as much as you possibly can. And yeah, there's people outside and they got a tough break from the, you know, natural selection or whatever. And I feel bad for them because I'm a good, empathetic person. But we're all going to die anyway. So let's have as much fun as we possibly can. That makes complete sense to me. And I would be all, you know, like, that makes a lot of sense to me. The religious angle on top of Christmas, the way Americans do it, makes no sense to me whatsoever. But if I was an atheist, the way that Christians do Christmas makes a lot of sense to me. Like, do a little nod to the religious ancestry that you have, and then get to the real thing. And the real thing is, let's hang out, let's have fun, let's eat, and let's accumulate more material to distract us from the fact that we're all going to die, which is kind of the theory. That makes so much sense to me. And I'm not, like I said, man, like, I'm not, that's why I'm feeling this dude so much, is because, like, I've never seen anybody say the things that he said. That's how I felt, you know, for years. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, there's a lot of things that come out of that, like Black Friday, like, you know, the irony of Thanksgiving. Like, we had Thanksgiving, and then the food hasn't even digested in your stomach, and you're out in Walmart trampling people to death for Tickle Me Elmo. And I'm like, these are Christians doing this. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I have, like, my Muslim friends, and like, what the hell? Like, that are not familiar with this whole ritual. Like, they're like, what are y'all do? You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know. And you know, it was cool because, you know, our church turned that into something really cool. Like, people were hanging out in Walmart. There's big long lines in the dead of winter, and, like, those guys were handing out hot chocolate to people. Like, we made gallons and gallons of hot chocolate, gave hot chocolate to people, warmed them up a little bit, sang some Christmas carols. People would, you know, shoot a little message out there to help people, remind people of, you know, it's like, what did you get for Christmas 2 years ago? Like, nobody even knows. Like, nobody even remembers what they got for Christmas 2 years ago. But if they got nothing, they would remember that. So I'm like, damn, bro. Like, this shit is... Perkinaw said, I mean, that's exactly what happened. The way Americans do Christmas is largely a result of secularization. Has very little to do with traditional Western Christian celebration of Christmas. Yeah. And for me, it's always been like, yo, we are selling ourselves short. It's not like, oh, materialism is bad and I am this like Gandhi or something. I'm not Gandhi. Like, I want, like, the most happiness possible. My theory is just that the way that we do Christmas does not maximize the happiness we could have.
Bro, I think you're right.
That's all I'm saying. So
well, I'd like to hear more of what you like to see on Christmas.
Hey, Chris Austin in the house, Sevenfold, Ghost, Behemoth, all those big bands. Yeah, so, like, you know, it's interesting that he talks about justice, you know, comes to deliver its death. Like, that's a very interesting concept. Like, are we celebrating Christmas in a just fashion? Like, that's a... But, you know, like, I always hesitate to talk about this stuff because there's that, in the letter to the seven church, I think it was Thyatira, where, he's saying, you guys need to do this, you need to stop doing that. And then he says, as for the other stuff, I'm not going to, I don't want to lay any more, I don't want to lay any more burden on you. Just hold on to what you have and you'll be okay. Like, so there's that mind of God where he's like, this could be better, but I'm not going to go crazy on people because God is gracious. He knows that we're dust. So I'm sure God knows that we're hanging out in the Western world. We're inundated with modern secular humanism and when that interfaces with capitalism and things like that, you end up with what we call Christmas. Like, I don't think he's up there going, Jesus is getting worshipped 24/7 all over the world and with the angels. Like, he's not, I just think that we're missing out on and it's not just Christians, like I said, like, negative, he's saying the exact same thing where he says the invocation, Lord, come with fire. Everybody's wasting their time. Hits me really hard. Agree. Like there's that, like, you're looking around and you're seeing all this stuff and everybody's kind of like smiling and shit and not realizing, like, and then the other thing is, like, I talked about this with Dorian, like, all the comfort of the Western world is being bought by suffering somewhere else.
Oh my gosh.
You got diamonds over there, came from Africa. You got, this, a lot of the chocolate, a lot of the Nestle chocolate farms of like 8-year-old kids working 12-hour days, all types of shit to get us chocolate. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much shit that, Western comfort is being purchased on,
oh my gosh,
the misery of other people. And so it's like, the irony is like, oh, Christmas, like, I remember when I was working at the Walmart distribution center, anytime it was Christmas, the chocolate would be like, triplicated, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, okay, so more misery has to come to generate this celebration for us on the other side of the world. Like, and again, like, this happens 365 days out of the year. That's one of the reasons, like, well, why is Christmas different? Like, but it's like, there's just so many things where as Americans, we are so comfortable. We're at a time now where we are aware of more human suffering than has ever been, like, even possible. And we don't do anything about it for 364 days in the year. And then on Christmas, like, we want to be happy and full of cheer. And I don't know. It's just like, it's unjust. It's an unjust system. And it's one of those things where it's like, if they read about us 100 years from now, people be like, what are these people doing? Like, and that group in 100 years are going to have their own issues, but, like, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? And that's what it talks about, like, come with fire. You know what I'm saying? Like, burn all the shit down, and all the people that were talking shit about, oh, you love Jesus, blah, 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 Christ over everything. Okay, so when everything is rebel around you, is Christ going to be everything? You going to say that's a Merry Christmas because your house burned down, but Christ is everything to you? Like, come on, bro. Like, so I don't know. It's a lot of people would accuse this guy of being a downer, but I don't know. I think it's looking at the holidays from a heavenly perspective. And, this one was a little bit more meta, but the other ones were really personal as well. Like, I just thought the mix that Negative Vibes came up with, like, you had two, like, classic ones, like classic Christmas songs, hymns, and then you had the two or three in the middle were very personal, and then this one is, like, meta, like, think about the world, think about, how does the theology interface with so... what is my what is one of my favorite verses? One of the verses that Jesus says to me a lot is Psalm 32:9. Do not be like the horse or the mule, which have no understanding, but must be controlled by bit and bridle, or they will not come to you. Or in the English, it says, in the ESV, it says, they will not stay near you. And so that's God saying, man, how about you just, like, come and listen to me? Like, don't I don't want this relationship where you have to be controlled. You know what I'm saying? So Chris, that's one of my favorite verses, Psalm 32:9. He says that to me a lot because I'm a very, 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 very stubborn individual. Oh, yeah, and the verse before that too, subhanAllah. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my eye upon you. I love that. I love that. And yeah, negative vibes. 1 Thessalonians 5:21. Test all things, hold to that which is good. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, like that's a beautiful thing. So anyway, guys, have a Merry Christmas, okay? Don't let him influence you.
I think that this stream it caused a lot of thought, and I don't know, it just seemed right. I really liked it. I liked that the vibe that it gave, and the songs. I don't know. I like the song selections.
The song selections were really good, and I don't know like if he did that on purpose, but just the structure of the whole day.
Yeah. Well done.
Was really, really, really cool. Really, really cool. I really, really enjoyed it. I'm just surprised. I didn't know that anybody wrote Christmas music like this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Like, I'd love to see some more of this guy's catalog. So yeah, man, I really appreciate it. This one is a 10 for me. It's a 10 for me because
9.8.
I just this is like exactly my thought process. The last two songs were exactly my thought processes and struggles with Christmas. So
I think we should talk about it more too offline.
He did a really good job. There you are, dear listener. Whatever your tradition is, try to have a happy holiday. Love your neighbor, take care of each other, all that jazz.
Thanks for hanging out.
Try to find, just try to make it significant for yourself. I don't have any right to tell you how to celebrate Christmas. So do your best is what I'll say. There you are, dear listener. Shout out to Negative Vibes. That was really good, my guy.
We have another stream tomorrow night at 10 p.m.
Another stream for you bitches. We just coming at you.